Okay, today we're going to be doing a quick tabletop review of the Seek Thermal imaging camera from Seek Thermal. This particular camera is an Android device. It plugs into your tablet or phone that is Android 4.3 and up via its micro USB port, and that has to be a USB port that is on the go or OTG enabled. This camera is kind of a breakthrough. For anybody that's looked at thermal imaging and thermal imagers, you're finding, all these devices for the most part are thousands of dollars aside from some very low resolution handheld units. This camera actually has a 206 by 156 sensor array, which is pretty good sized as far as entry mid-level consumer products. And the big breakthrough is that it's available for $200, which is just remarkable. So we'll go ahead and do a review on this. You open the package, it comes with a nice heavy-duty carrying case and the Seek camera. This camera, like I said before, is micro USB. It's also pretty well built, with the casing being magnesium, so it's should be pretty durable, aside from the connector, which may be a little bit frail. One thing to note about this camera is that the connector on it, let me see if I can get this zoomed in here. The connector on it does not rotate. It's a fixed connector, so basically what this thing likes to be plugged into is a device where your long flat side of your micro USB is facing the front or the back of the phone, not the side you look at, but the back of the phone. And with a connector on the bottom, it works best that way, so it would be mounted like this at the bottom of your camera. If you have a side port or use an armored case like an OtterBox, what you might find is that you need an extension cable to be able to use it, which can be a little bit cumbersome. So what we're going to do is I've already downloaded the software onto a Android tablet, and we'll plug this thing in, and I'll give you a quick demonstration of the software and what this thing can do. Okay, as I had previously mentioned, we're going to be doing a demo of the Seek camera on using a tablet. In this case, what we have here is a Samsung Galaxy Tab 3 running Android 4.4.2. Of course, here's the Seek camera. You can tell it's got a pretty nice little carrying case for it. So we'll go ahead and pull the camera out and flip this over and plug it into the micro USB port. Now, I do have a protector on this, but it doesn't have much, doesn't have a lot of room where it's interfering. Okay, so the camera pops up. Now, what I have here in this case, you're looking at an image of my foot. There's where my foot was on the floor, heated up. So what you're looking at is the main display panel for your Seek camera. Basically, you can just use it to monitor. You can also record videos and take still images. Still images are saved as a JPEG, and your videos are saved as MP4s. Right now, we'll run through the options first. And looking at the options, temperature units I have set to Fahrenheit. Color palette is it gives you a lot of choices here. Now, right now I've been playing around with the white, hot, black, cold. I'm going to run through and name off the other color palettes that this thing can show you video in. Okay, we have white hot, black hot, iron, cool, amber, indigo, and I'm going to say Tyrian. It might be Tyrian. I think this is the standard, by the way. Glory, which is red, white, and blue. Go USA, right? And lastly, Envy, where green is hot. Looks like you wanted to swipe the screen there. So we're going to go back. Actually, we'll go back to what I believe is a default, and we're going to save that. Okay. Now, a couple of other options that we have on this camera are we have image preferences. Aspect ratio, it gives you a choice. It gives you 4.3 or 16.9. Looking at the math with the sensor array, This 206 by 156 sensor is actually pretty close to a 4:3 ratio. So in my thoughts, and this may be wrong, but I'm thinking if you go with a 16 by 9, you're actually not going to be using the full sensor array, or it's going to have to extrapolate in a less than fairly square method. So I'm thinking that the 16 by 9 may not be that usable of a ratio. Maybe Seek can correct me if I'm wrong. Watermarks. You have a choice of several watermarks that you might find a value. You have date and time, which you can turn on. It'll display in the upper left corner in red on your screen. You can plug location on it. I haven't used the location function, but it can embed and put your actual GPS coordinates, I guess, on there. If you want to record where it's at or save that data with it. And if you're proud or you want to make Seek proud, you can put the Seek logo on the bottom right of your screen if you like to advertise. I do not, so we're going to take that back off. We will turn the date and time on for right now and back out of this menu. Other than that, you have your terms and policies about. That's all that for your. That's all that's in your settings menu. Okay, going back out now, you can see we have the date and time up at the top. Again, my feet are hot. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'll go through the rest of the features on the film. Basically, right now, you see on the bottom right, you have a little camera lens icon. You have 4 modes that this thing will normally display in. Right now, we're looking at just basic camera mode. I have another mode where it will put a spot in the middle of the screen, and it will tell me what temperature it is that I am, whatever's behind that spot. In this case, my foot's about 77 degrees apparently. Just one thing on the temperature measurements on this camera. I did test it out with a laser pointer, an industrial camera for measuring temperatures of piping and stuff like that. Going from freezing to about 300-400 degrees, kind of hard to get it to correlate. It would bounce around 10 to 15 degrees apart, or maybe spot on to 15 degrees apart. So I don't know if this is how accurate this calibration is on the temperature on this, so I wouldn't use it to take your baby's temperature. Okay, next we have a high-low mode where this camera will go and basically show you whatever is the highest and lowest spot on the screen. In this case, we have the cat. So you can see he's the high at 84, with the carpet being 64 in the background. Another feature we have, and the last mode, is actually a threshold mode, where basically it's going to give you a grayscale image, and then you can set either above, equal to, or below a certain temperature. Now the temperature range on this is pretty extreme, 475 down to -5. By default, when I first got the camera or this loaded software, 80 degrees was the default. So basically what it'll do is it'll take the threshold temperature and colorize either above, whatever's equal to, plus or minus a certain amount, or below. So in using that function, I can go over here again. We'll go back to the cat, and you can see exactly where he's above 80 degrees at. That could be real useful for finding hot spots where you know what the background temperature is supposed to be on something. Now, as I'm going around, I'm looking at the oven, which I have set to warm, so it's not blazingly hot, but there you go. There's where all the heat loss is coming out of the oven. Okay, we're back to regular camera mode on the Seek camera. As I said, you can record videos and JPEGs. One other neat feature, let me see, this is maybe a little bit hard for me to do, that this camera has, is that it has a mode where you can select, up here we go with the orientation thing on this thing, where you can select to see both the camera in your device and the Seek camera's output at the same time. Now in looking at this, you'll notice that things aren't exactly matching up, and the reason for that is this Seek camera has a 36-degree viewing angle. The camera for the tablet has a much wider viewing angle, so your images don't match. That and one camera's down here and the other camera is up at the top of the tablet on the back side. So this is useful to allow you to say, okay, if I go over here and I'm looking at that and I can tell that's another, but maybe not, you know. If I can't, well, I can give you an idea of what I'm actually looking at so you can correlate your image. Also on that, you can swipe it across and kind of, you know, gives you the ability to split screen however you so desire. So that is that's it. That's all the software. That's how this Seek camera works. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to end this video with voice recording of the tablet and the Seek camera, and we'll do a little walk around with just shooting video from the Seek application, and I'll overlay a little bit of commentary on that to give you an idea of what it's capable of. Again, one thing that I didn't mention is that the Seek application, although it can record video, you can't get audio with it. So not at this time anyway. Maybe Seek will see fit to let you use your microphone and your device and record audio as well later on down the road. So anyway, without further ado, here's a Seek video.